I think. Welcome everyone to setting up a medieval pavilion with the Creative Contessa. I am the Contessa, and I'm going to show you today the whole process behind setting up my 15th century glamping encampment. So the first thing we're going to be doing is actually setting up the pavilion because you can't really have a glamping setup without a proper luxurious tent. So we're actually going to walk you through the process as we walk through it ourselves. I haven't set up this particular pavilion in over 5 years, and so we're actually probably in for some unpleasant surprises. We may have to do some emergency remediation as we go along, but stick with us and maybe you could learn how to set up your own hub and spoke pavilion. Now I'm just going to, yeah. First off, of course, let us know if you can hear us. We're actually using a new sound system as well. So the hub and spoke pavilion that we're setting up, I made myself 20 years ago using instructions found on the housegreydragon.org website, which has a fantastic calculator on how to build your own such hub and spoke round pavilion based on what kind of measurements you want for the height of your walls, the height of your roof, the width of your, or the diameter of your pavilion. So I can highly recommend that if you're interested in making your own pavilion, in-depth instructions plus a calculator that will show you how to cut and lay out all the pieces. So yeah. Takeda, lovely to see you. Can you hear me? Splendid, perfect. Yeah, so the first thing we're gonna do is actually lay out the ground cloth. So yeah. Welcome to Pennsic, where we have always something that's happening. So it could be a little bit loud here today as well. Yeah.
That pole, our bottom line.
Yeah, so this pole is our bottom line, and that flag over there, the little orange one, is our top line.
Out 3/8 of the distance.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So we'll be keeping it down. We only have, we actually have 3 tents now, so we actually have, we don't have to sleep with them.
If the people who have COVID end up not coming at all, then we've got a bunch.
Oh my gosh, we have people who come down with us.
They aren't here for that reason.
Oh no. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it doesn't sound so very serious.
Okay, so not highly symptomatic.
But they were tested positive a week later. Okay, so we do this thing. They might.
Is that a
yeah.
No. It's heartbreaking if they don't come.
So we'll have at least more room.
Oh. Yeah.
What do you think of that? Yeah.
It's very good.
It's very big. That big?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's right there.
Yeah, I made 2 of these back in 2005.
Back the hub and spoke.
The hub and spoke. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It is the best way. I mean, I've seen some people try the fighting wheel side, and I mean that's a reasonable. I feel like that's a reasonable as well. But
I have my glasses on.
Okay, so as everyone sees, one of the keys to a successful setup of this hub and spoke pavilion is that you have a ground cloth that is exactly this isn't mirrored, so it's a little confusing to me. You have a ground cloth that is exactly the perimeter of your pavilion. And this is actually a super heavy painter's drop cloth that we bought 20 years ago. And we laid it out and we cut it exactly to the dimensions of the lower perimeter of our pavilion. So what that means is that now there is no guesswork about where the stakes go for our pavilion. But that's very essential to actually setting up a hub and spoke pavilion. You basically set it up like an umbrella. Lay out your ground cloth as we've done here. We can do something about this. Well, maybe we should come down a little bit.
Yeah, come out a little bit. That's gonna be.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we should come out a little bit that way. Yeah, we'll come down a little bit and we'll come out a little bit. Okay, so while we're moving stuff, I'll talk about the hub and spoke pavilion a little bit more. This ground cloth, we do not put a tarp under this. It is cotton canvas, and cotton canvas is naturally water resistant. And so waterproof, even one could say. I've had an entire river of water flowing under this thing, and I mean flowing, so that when you walked on the ground cloth, it felt like you were walking on a waterbed, but the water did not come up through the ground cloth. So I don't need a plastic tarp. I don't need any modern thing to make this a perfectly wonderful water resistant experience. But you want to make sure it's a heavy ground cloth or a heavy painter's drop cloth, right? And make sure it's 100% cotton. Don't want any synthetic fibers in either your pavilion or your drop cloth because your ground cloth, because then it is no longer going to be waterproof. Yeah. Let's see. Good luck. Thank you. Yeah. So if there are any questions, I will be periodically coming and checking the comments once we get into the really heavy duty stuff. I'm obviously going to not be right here at the screen because I'm going to be hammering mallets. But yeah, I will be coming and
Send her over to check the
periodically checking for questions and whatnot. I'm just going to kind of give you a little sweep around to see what things look like before we actually get set up. People are obviously slowly setting up. This is really day 0 of Pennsic. And we actually waited 2.5 hours in the check-in line in the blazing sunshine. It was wonderful. But also we want to make sure we're not more than, we want to make sure we have 3/8 of the camp, right? So we have 3/8 like going down. So we want to make sure we're not more, we don't want to take up more than our space. But I think we're about at 3/8, I feel like.
No, we can move this way a bit more.
So I think we're good.
Might want to move the camera
No,
down.
we are. We're good. We're good.
Yep.
Yeah, we're good.
I put the spikes in the corner. It's a spike.
Yeah, every octagonal. So this is our pavilion is actually a dodecahedron. So every single corner of the dodecahedron gets a spike. So thus it begins. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on gloves because the last time I did this, I gave myself blisters, and we're here for 2 weeks, and I don't want to be living in a 15th century style with blisters on my hands. It's just not the best. It's not my happiest 15th century life. And God knows in the 15th century, those blisters could have led to an infection that could have led to death. So, people often ask me, do you want to go back and live in the Middle Ages? No, not even a little bit. Not even, and in fact, I don't even want to set foot in the Middle Ages. Timeline, not for me. No, thank you. I don't even want to go through the door. A window looking back into the Middle Ages. Absolutely. I would look through the window all day. Step through a door? No, I value my life. I really do. Yeah. Okay.
Trying to find a window.
Camera time. Now, painters drop off. I bought this in Germany. I need to know I was. So, but I have access. May or may not be able to have access wherever you are. But I would check your home improvement store, and then I would maybe go to a proper, like, professional paint store, and see what they have. Because if you want to make your own ground cloth, really do want as heavy duty as possible. This floor ground cloth actually had a hard start here. Had a start to life. This was the very first event at which we inaugurated our brand new pavilion with a brand new drop cloth. It was an event on a Celtic hill fortress in Germany, Blauburg, is north of Frankfurt. And the camp where we were camping for this event, the excavator, had been a sheep meadow. And so they had been grazing their sheep there all summer. And guess what? Sheep meadows are covered in at the end of grazing. Oh. What is it? So what do you think it is?
I think it's sheep wool that you can collect.
It is absolutely not sheep wool that you can collect. It's sheep poo that you can collect with your ground cloth. So after that event, the ground cloth reeked of sheep pieces. I mean, it's a green smell, I guess, but it also is like a lanolin green smell. So we actually had to take this ground cloth to a car wash and use the car wash brush with the the mud's going right through it to scrub the hell out of it to get the cheap pea smell out of it. Great stuff. Great stuff. So yeah, this ground cloth had a hard start to life, for certain. So we are using wrought iron stakes. I'll be honest, this is not the right kind of stake. They should be wooden. I'm actually going to see about getting proper medieval style stakes at this event. There's a large marketplace at Pennsic, 200 plus merchants, many of them craftsmen, smiths and carpenters and whatnot are here. So I'm going to see if we have any carpenters who might be able to make me some proper wooden stakes, because they just weren't using metal stakes. If you look at all the depictions of medieval enchantment, see the stakes, they're always wooden.
They're always high.
Stakes are always high. Wow, did you really just say that?
How many of these have you hammered in?
I've hammered 2 in, or maybe 1, because I'm looking at where it is and trying to decide. Maybe we'll rotate it to point the door that. I mean, we don't have to change the stakes, but let's rotate the ground cloth to point the door maybe that way.
Okay.
Because we've actually, because our 3/8,
Because we slipped down.
yeah, our 3/8 now we're like almost.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a dodecahedron.
Yeah, no, that, grab your.
Yeah. Okay. We are rotating.
How many?
Let's see what that. I think maybe that one. I think, because that angle is this way.
Door will go that way. They can't really see. Door will now be going that way.
Yeah, the door. So we're currently, the problem is, so here's the problem, everyone. Right now it's all nice and shady here, right? You see all this beautiful shade? Yeah, okay. But it is now it's 5 o'clock here, almost 5 o'clock here. In the morning, that is east. And in the morning, the sun comes straight in. And what I learned last year is that it heats up the front half of my pavilion to beyond sauna. And so I'm trying to make it so that we are both able to have a social area that's kind of central to the pavilion without having the front half of my pavilion, say where I dress, become a sauna. Because there is very little more unpleasant than getting dressed when you're already soaking wet with sweat. Yeah. So that's the consideration that we have. So yes, we rotated it 1. And so that's put the door, we rotated 2. We rotated it 2 actually, didn't we?
Rotated 1. Because the door was
right
here.
Well, we rotated 2, 1, 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So why don't we'll bring it back 1. What are you thinking?
In the door. Okay.
Well, no, because our little.
Oh, we're just. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want to take it back 1?
Take it back 1 with you. Oh yeah, rotate. Yeah, maybe, because I just don't want. On the other hand, because this is a much bigger pavilion than the one I usually have. So the one I usually have is almost actually like half this size. So we actually, if we put the bed here, then that's going to put the hangings there on that half, and that will kind of block the sunlight from actually getting this half, where I could then get dressed in this half, and that would be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do this. We'll do this. We might regret it, but the good thing about this style of pavilion is that we can actually rotate it by just popping the stakes and pulling the canvas around and pulling the hub and spoke around. You'll see what I'm talking about. So this hub and spoke thing we've been talking about. Let me show you what I mean. We have, and this is the cultural reconstruction. We have only very few extant pavilions from the Middle Ages that have actually survived from Europe. There is one, and not even medieval Europe. I mean, like Renaissance Europe, like 15th, end of the 15th, 16th, early 17th century. If we have extant tents or pavilions, that's the time from which they have survived. So this is the hub we're talking about. Tinker Toys, for those of you who remember Tinker Toys, here's your giant Tinker Toy. And it has the center pole, goes up through this square. And then there are holes in which spokes stick, and the spokes stick out and poke the walls out, hold the walls out by tension, like an umbrella. And the reason that we have come to this conclusion as an option is that if you look at all of the representations of pavilions from the Middle Ages, and I mean all of them, when you look on when you can see inside the pavilion, you see no perimeter poles whatsoever. So there's two ways to achieve, well, there's three reasons that could be. One, the artist just didn't feel like depicting perimeter poles. Two, there are no perimeter poles, and there must be some kind of hub and spoke thing like this that would keep the poles up above where you can actually see them in the depiction. Or three, there is actually a wagon wheel effect. There's actually a frame, a circular frame that gets put into the outside of the pavilion and just kind of suspends from the walls and holds out the walls in that round thing, round shape. Hub and spoke seems the easiest one to obtain, because a giant wagon wheel would be very, very heavy and require a great deal of skill to make. And so that's why many of us have gone with the hub and spoke interpretation of the medieval pavilion. Now, obviously, there's other shapes than round. And there's some theories also that they should also be completely suspended by ropes. And maybe that's true. Maybe some of them did have 100% rope suspension systems, which means the ropes come down through the roof and go way far out from the walls and basically hold tension the walls out that way. But that comes with, you need a massive footprint to achieve that kind of tensioning. So yeah, I much prefer the hub and spoke interpretation. That, of course, means you need a decent carpenter to make a hub, because, it's actually a pretty complicated piece of joinery. It needs to be exact, the spoke holes need to be exactly at the same spacing all the way around. It needs to be able to take a lot of tension. It needs to be able to take the vicissitudes of hot and cold, wet and dry, and all that expansion. So you will want a skilled carpenter, ideally, to make your hub for you, is the ideal. And I know some people have actually gone to Amish carpenters and had their hubs and their spokes made there. So that could be a tip. If you live near Amish country, then maybe go see an Amish carpenter about making your hub and spokes. Okay. So the next step is that we're laying out the pavilion, and we go and we put the loops, the ground loops, are each around a spike, basically. So I'm going to back us up so you can see better what is happening. Okay, fantastic. And for whatever reason, if you could, oh, sorry, just a whole bunch of comments just came through.
Read the comments.
Yeah. Let me see. Da-da-da. Nice thing about the iron and steel stakes is that they store better. The wood gets things. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. You're totally right. Totally right, Takeda. It gets things in the pores, and then they rot out and they dry rot. I mean, yeah, Takeda, there's certainly some real practical aspects to the metal stakes. I can't debate with you there. Stefano says hello. Okay. Then the romanticized Middle East. And the reality is that anyone doing medieval living history doing a romanticized living history is doing a romanticized. There are many aspects of any given story that are deadly, outrageous, or immoral by our modern. Just don't know. Yeah, I mean, depending on your era, there's just a lot of aspects of life. The more information we find, the less we need to conjecture. But history, documentary evidence, there generally is. Evidence there is. 100% interpretation. Okay.
So move the camera so that they can see in the door now.
Yeah. Okay. So just going to do a sweep here so you can see. So there is the pavilion laid out, and all of the loops at the bottom are around the stakes. And I'm going to bring you closer and show you the actual stake here. Okay. Yeah. So here is the stake, and here are the loops. And I made this all myself 20 years ago. And I can already tell that there are some spots where the canvas is Maybe not in the happiest shape. We'll see. It's this thing has certainly put its time in. It owes me nothing, honestly, at this point. And would I make another one myself? No, I think I'd rather pay someone else to make the next one. I've made 2 of these. That was plenty. Yep, that was plenty. Okay, so now here is the center pole. This is the center pole, and the center pole is connected. It's in 2 halves and it's connected by a sleeve, a metal sleeve on which will sit the hub. Now, yes, you could ask yourself, you can absolutely say, well, is that an authentic approach? Probably not. Honestly, the reality is that when you have a whole baggage train, you have enough room to just have a really long ass center pole that you just put in the baggage train and it just goes. But we have the reality of modern vehicles and modern forms of transportation. And so most people split their center pole in half and then use some kind of sleeve to attach it. So this is conjectural again on our part, but we don't have any evidence otherwise. So it's not inauthentic. It's just we do have to do a lot of guesswork often and things like this. Yeah. Yeah, you want a tent, not a sweat lodge. Sweat lodge. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. You lost the and we need to put once we get there. Where is the hat? Okay, so we have here a cap. So there is a leather cap that goes on the top of the center pole because that actually helps distribute the weight of the pavilion better down the center pole and kind of is extra nice to the why is it not going through? Is extra nice to makes it so that the hole doesn't rip out at the top. And we have, just so you know, we have heat hardened the top of this is ash. The pavilion is made of ash, or the center pole is made of ash. Ash is excellent because it is sturdy and flexible, right? So it really, and there needs to be flex because winds are going to, especially circular forces from wind, are going to cause this pavilion to move. And so you want a center pole that can flex with that. You don't want something that's too rigid. But we have heat hardened the top where the pavilion sits on it so that it's extra strong and extra firm at the top where all that pressure, where all the weight of the pavilion is pressing down on it. Okay, so, and we need to put we also need to put guy wires on. So there's 2 things that now go on before we actually push up the pavilion, run up the center pole. Anything you want to go on top goes on now. And we have a metal spike at the top. Show you, we have a metal spike at the top specifically so that we can attach my poor sad banner. It's my poor sad banner. It is it has flown in many a storm here. It's built, so it has interior. And I'll show you. Said only ever attempt at silk screening. I learned many, 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 many things about silk screening in doing this. So this is my banner. And this is what I mean by the poor sad ends. It's just, yeah. I do plan to make a new one. Of course, what I learned after making this one is that silk screening is not a medieval technique in Europe. And that banners were actually oil painted generally, believe it or not. So they weren't as flexible as we might imagine or wish them. So the other thing you want to put on top of your, the cameras, yeah. The other thing you want to put on the top of the pavilion before you run the center pull up are high wind lines. If you're going to have high wind lines, they go on top of the spike before you run the pull up. Otherwise, you're going to have to try to lasso a spike that is really, really high up in the air. So especially on this. So this pavilion is actually 14 feet tall at the top because it's got 2 7-foot center poles that latch into each other. And so the spokes are actually at the 7-foot height, which is great. Plenty of room for moving around. And also that means that the heat can rise up into the cone and it'll keep you cooler in the lower part where you're actually living. How tall is your pavilion? Okay, well, it's funny because Lori just asked that and it just popped up and I already answered it. So yeah, it's 14 feet at the center. and 7 feet at the spokes. So plenty of room for even tall people to be comfortable. Also means you'll see once we set up, once we get the spokes up, that we can hang things from the spokes. So it's fantastic. Oh, we're going to try something new this time, huh? All right.
Well,
I'm
your
all
banner
for it.
doesn't fit.
Yeah, that doesn't. We used to have a smaller banner on it. Well,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. As we say in the Creative Contessa, let's see what happens.
Yeah, your poor banner.
Yeah, the banner is
Trashed.
the banner is trash, which is probably why it's better that it's up high where you can't see all the ripped, shredded pieces. Okay. Oh no, the hub needs to go on. Hanson.
You're right.
Okay, so don't make this mistake, ladies and gentlemen. The hub must go on when you join the two halves.
That's why it was so light.
Yes, that's why it was so light. Our hub is actually pretty heavy. The hub is almost as heavy as the center poles. It's solid wood. It's not plywood or anything. It is what it is. Okay, so let's see what the best angle for the witnessing this process is. Probably over there. Okay, everyone, let's take a little walk. Repositioning, repositioning, repositioning. Okay. Okay, hold on. Can we see the center? Okay, so this is basically where the entrance is. And this is where we run the hub and spoke up through the center. And this is usually a two-person job. Handsome, it's a two-person job. You might, okay. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Et voila. So I know some of you saw me set up last year, and yeah, the little tent that I have, the little hub and spoke, I can totally do myself. But this one is a two-person job for certain. Okay, so actually, I'm going to show you guys from the inside here. Okay, let's go in, take a peek. So now we do the hub and spoking. We're going to do this spoking. Yes, I know. I'm going to put them in here. Let's see what we
Yeah, this corner. Maybe.
We're just trying to figure out where to put you guys. This is the first time. This is the first time we've ever live streamed this part of the process.
He's probably going to have to. Nobody can hear me. No, I need the base.
Oh, yeah. So, this is not necessarily necessary for every tent, but we have this fantastic dugout wooden bowl, and we need it. We use it because it provides, it actually gives our tent a little more height, because what we discovered after we made it, of course, is that the fabric relaxed. And so it's a little too loose for the height of our pole. So we fixed it by just having this handy dandy wooden bowl that we put under it. And then it actually kind of keeps it in it actually allows it a little bit of flexibility, but it stays within its space. So yeah, inventive solutions. Okay, so now, yeah, there's two ends. There's a flat end.
Bug.
And then there is a rounded end. The rounded end go into these pockets, and let me show you the pocket. So this is how we've done this. Everyone kind of has a different interpretation of this, but there is actually an extant pavilion. There is actually an extant pavilion that has survived in Spain. It was one of Charles V's pavilions, and it's not round, it's actually square, is the fun thing. And it actually has pockets in the perimeter, all along the perimeter. The hub, none of the wood has survived, but it has pockets along the perimeter. And so that, just like these. And so that's why we're pretty certain that hub and spoke is an option. So I don't mean I certainly would never say it's the only option, because there's certainly more than one way to skin a tent. But it is certainly one of the options. It's actually going pretty quickly, everyone. Oh no, did I say that aloud? I'm sorry.
Why would you do that?
Dear God and the Furies and any other supreme beings who are wont to be capricious, to smite humans for hubris, please hear my apology. I didn't mean it.
Just help.
Yeah, so there's a lot of flex when you first set up a hub and spoke pavilion. So it might feel like it's going to fall over, it's going to tip, but the reality is that the mat, they are now for short people like me. I'm only 5'6" or about 170 centimeters, I think, in centimeters. This can be a little tricky because it is at 7 feet, as I said. 7 feet is let me think about that. 2.5 times 72. So yeah, centimeters would be 2.5 times 72 will give you, or no, times 84 will give you 7 feet in metric. Yeah.
If you know, pop it in the chat.
Yeah, if you know what 7 feet is in centimeters, pop it in the chat. Okay, Ryan has my profound sympathy. But for which thing? Okay, so here we are. Look how easy this goes up, guys.
And an important thing is the base.
Yeah.
Has the.
Okay, so now the way I designed this pavilion, there are mud flaps all the way around. So each panel, each of the sides of the dodecahedron extends past the ground. And now what we do is, let's see if I'm actually show you. What we do for our set is we take the ground cloth and we put the mud flap under the ground cloth. So that water, when there's water, and there will be because it's Pennsic, the water will go under the tent, the ground cloth, and not into your tent. Into your pavilion. So that's one of the several tricks we use in the setup, and it seems to work.
Sometimes.
Oh, we're gonna have to migrate this up a little bit this way. The ground cloth, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was much.
Yeah. So now there's also a bit of fiddling at this point because the ground cloth may have shifted. If the ground cloth is not staked in, and I guess if I really wanted to be thorough about it, I could put boots on the ground cloth and stake it down as well. I decided never to spend the energy on that. So what we now have to do is zhuzhing a little bit. We're going to have to actually kind of scoot. The ground cloth has slid down a little bit. We're on a slope here a little bit. So we're going to have to pull the ground cloth up. And that might, here's the catchy thing about pulling the ground cloth up. That might involve one of us, probably not me, lifting the center pole while the other person, probably me, pulls the ground cloth under the center pole that's been lifted.
It's fine.
It's fine? You sure? Okay. Or not.
I was able to pull every corner back up. I did pretty good laying it up.
Okay. No, it's not that you didn't. I thought maybe us moving around in here may have.
No, I mean.
Yeah. So now we just go around and make certain that, the mud flaps are under the ground cloth.
You say under?
Yeah, but yes. Oh, you've done it the other. No, the ground cloth goes on top of the mud flaps so that the water goes under the ground cloth, not into the tent. As it is, the water will run down the sides of your pavilion. It will. That's fine. That's what rainwater should do. But then you want it to run under your tent, not into your.
How long it's been since I set this up?
Yeah, it's been. You haven't set up one of these in a very long time. 5 years was the last time you set it up. In fact, that might have been your problem at Straya.
Yeah. All that rain.
Yeah, all that rain. That might have been the.
As you can see, the ground cloth hits all the corners pretty well.
Yeah. It's just at the top it doesn't. Oh, I see a repair.
Yeah, I was going to tell you about that.
We've got. That's okay. That's good. That's good. So we didn't know. Where am I? There. We didn't know. There's got to be a way to mirror this. Where's the mirror function? Damn it! It's making me crazy. It didn't automatically mirror. Okay, so we didn't know whether there would be repair. I kind of knew. I remembered that there was something that had ripped at some point. So thankfully, we have brought spare canvas that I saved, because remember, I save all of my scraps from my projects so that when I have to repair something, I have the exact fabric. Well, the pavilion is no different. So I have probably 72 yards, because this pavilion took 72 yards. That's how many yards of fabric it took to build this. But of course, there were scraps, there were leftovers. It wasn't perfect. It didn't perfectly use all of the fabric. We could have designed it that way, but that would have added more seams and more, more holes. So I have scraps. I brought the scraps. I even have leftover strapping of the homemade strapping that we made, so that if any straps need to be replaced, we can do that here right now, in fact, or whenever we want. I could do it right now, but maybe I won't. Maybe we'll continue with the setup and we'll do the repairs, because the repairs can be done whether or not we get set up. So what we're doing now, I'd like to show you some of our decor. See those beautiful painted canvas panels? So there's someone who was exiting the glamping lifestyles. They were no going to do any kind of camping at medieval living history events. And they had actually made these gorgeous, gorgeous panels to put onto their pavilion, and I hand painted, hand stenciled, hand painted. And so they were selling them because they never got attached. And so we have bought them and we use them to decorate the inside of our pavilion rather than the outside, because, you know, we spend time in our pavilion. So we want to see the pretty things. Yeah. Oh, Pittsburgh Hoffin. No, no, no. I came from Korea. The heat index there today is 118 Fahrenheit. It's monsoon season. This is nothing. I'm quite comfortable here. Yeah, the panels are amazing, right? So yeah. So now what we're doing to attach them, what we're doing right now is we're actually taking advantage of the tension of the spokes to actually just basically pin them under the spokes. And the problem with this, is we found out, is that if the tent flexes with the wind too much, then you know there's enough flex and room and play in the fabric that they can actually fall out. So if that happens too much, I actually have a plan. We're going to actually take our knife and awl, and we're actually going to poke holes and then tie them to the pockets. We'll tie them right onto the ends of the poles. So I have a plan if that ends up happening. Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, there's one thing I can do. It's come up with creative solutions.
We
Um,
didn't even use this one last time.
oh wow, it's still wow, yeah, fantastic. So yeah, this is how it's coming. Let me get out of the camera. Sorry, guys. This is how it's coming together so far.
The good thing is that adding this, it's just a little bit more distance into the pool.
Right, it still makes it a little tauter. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess we could start this one further forward then, right? Yeah. Yeah. We could you know, we can migrate it this way so that this one actually starts here at the front. Yeah, you know, the glamping medievally involves lots of pieces, but you know, would I do this much effort for just a weekend? No. No, I would not. If I had servants to do it, sure, I would let them do it. But me, no, that's too much time spent. The time for setup to time spent enjoying ratio has to be better than that. Maybe a 3-day event, I would. If you know, if we actually start doing things Friday and we're still doing things on Monday. But this is we are here for 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks, and so we're going to get maximum enjoyment out of this effort. Yeah, and yes, a little hut would be simpler, but come on, guys, who wants to live in a hut for 2 weeks? I mean, yeah, no, I have done living history in reconstructed 14th and 15th century huts, not nice houses. They're damp, they're dark, they're not particularly comfortable with packed earth floor. I mean, it was an experience. I enjoyed the experience for the reality of it, but it's not something I would want to do for a protracted period of time. And it was very claustrophobic. So, yeah. Okay, any questions, everyone? So while Stefano, my condottiero, is what are you? You need my assistance with that?
No, I just changed the
Otherwise, I think I'll bring in the carpet next. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want you to see. So this ground cloth is really filthy. It's stained. I mean, it's been washed in a car wash many times. In fact, we probably should have washed it, taken it to a car wash and washed it again after last Estrella, which was Mudfest. But that's okay because as we have lots of turkey rugs, as they're called in 1620 English in the translation of the Decamerone from 1620, John Florio's translation. So we refer to them as turkey rugs because that seems to actually be what they were called in 15th and 16th century English. So we have a bunch of turkey rugs, and your turkey rugs should go down next because, of course, after that comes furniture. So first your turkey rugs, then the things that go on top of that. Otherwise, you end up having to empty everything out to put the turkey rugs in. So let me go grab the turkey rugs. Just let you see what Ryan is doing. You see any holes at the top?
Huh?
See any holes?
No, no. It actually looks full.
Yeah, there seems
No
to be
holes.
Am I seeing there?
Where?
Oh no, that's maybe
That's a repair.
That's a repair, right? So we might want to consider putting a pat reinforcement there. You know, just to reinforce it so it's extra strength. Yeah, actually, we had a 3-hour to get to the gate, and it was on a completely sunburnt field. But actually, I'm kind of glad because we were setting up in the shade of cool of the afternoon. So could be bad because it's giving us the false impression about how things are going to be, but you know. Oh, is this another ground floor?
Yeah, it's a painter's cloth. I brought it just in case.
Oh, yes, right. We bought these for the Creative Contessa events.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Do we want to put this down on top of that before we put the carpets on it?
Why not? Yeah, let's move you so you can see what we're doing.
Okay, so we actually have some extra painter's cloths that are not filthy dirty. And so we're going to go ahead and put those down on top of the filthy dirty painter's cloth, especially particularly in the area where our dining table is going to go. Because yes, the space is large enough for living and hosting comfortably. And so the side where the table is the side where you'll be able to see the floor very readily because on the sleeping side will be a bed and a silk bed canopy. So no problems there in terms of the floor. Do we have just the one or do we have two?
Just the one.
Okay, that's fine. So I wanted to show you some of the lovely turkey rugs, actual real turkey rugs. You can actually get these for pretty real hand woven, real wool turkey rugs with medieval patterns on them because medieval turkey rugs had geometric patterns, very geometric. So not like the modern florally ones that you often see now. So this is basically a replica pattern as they would have had for the rugs that were being imported into 14th and 15th century Europe. And I got this on eBay for about $400. So if you look on eBay, you can find sellers of actual vintage turkey rugs, or maybe even 200 for this one. Right. So no petrochemicals, and woven a long time ago by someone else. So and it feels so nice. Like the wool of these is silky. It's just fantastic.
Did you grab all of them?
I did not. So this is one of them. And I actually, these ones have never had the privilege of being in one of my pavilions before because we bought them during COVID. So yeah. So here is
We did a lot of buying during
we did a lot of buying. COVID was bad for our purse. I'll just put it that way. We did a lot of online shopping during COVID. Now this one we actually got at a local antique store in Albuquerque.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did have that.
Another one. You can see the pattern on the back.
That one might not be Middle Eastern.
It is. No, it is. No, it's real wool.
There they are.
There was all pure wool pile.
Yeah.
I think it's imported. So one of the ways you can tell, turkey rug tips. One of the ways you can tell it's a real turkey rug and not petrochemicals is that it's super flexible and can fold down very small, right? So look at how they're not thick. Real turkey rugs are generally not terribly thick, right? So they're super flexible. They can fold up into a pretty small space. No problem, like this, right? So that's a sign of an authentic turkey rug. Oh, Gaius, nice to see you. Thank you.
You get to lay the carpets out.
Yeah, okay, I get to lay the carpets out. Great.
I'm trying to sweat through my arm burn. Hello, welcome.
Through your arm burnt? What? Oh, right. Okay. Okay, so we've got these carpets, and now I have to decide which of the carpets. So we have these three, four, these four.
Four. Well, this is our deepest one, I think, if I remember correctly. This one's not a real turkey rug, right? Or is this one?
Uh, no, it's not. Okay, so here's another thing. Oh, what on earth is going on here? Okay, so here's another sign of a man-made. They're all man-made, obviously.
Do you ever find a natural
nature's turkey rug?
Yeah, turkey rug made in nature? That
No,
would be
but
awesome.
one of those you can tell it's machine made. Okay, so we look here on the edge. You can see the edge binding. This is a machine made edge binding. Like you can see it's actually been sewn with a machine, right? So this is a machine made turkey rug, 100%. Handmade. Oh, the binding is kind of weird and uneven, and that adds character. So here you can see the hand bound edge of the turkey rug, and also how the hand knotted ends here at the top and the bottom, where the warp system ended.
And if I remember
So
correctly,
you can see just how uneven, how wonderfully uneven this edge is, right?
for actual old ones, they'll always have an error in them.
Yeah.
Deliberately so.
Oh, right. Yeah. So
Because only God makes things perfect.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. We learned that from when we were in, was that Malaysia? When we were in Kuala Lumpur? Yeah, we were in Kuala Lumpur carpet shopping, as one does. Flex. And and what the rug dealer told us, he said, traditionally in Islamic countries, rug makers, carpet makers would purposefully put a flaw in it because only God makes perfect things. So that could be an apocryphal tale. I don't know. You have heard it in other places. Oh, okay. So I'm not a professional rug maker. I'm also not of those cultures. So, it sounds fun though. And maybe it is true.
So we can either put this.
So we should pull the white forward so that it covers the area where we definitely put fancy. And wherever the white, maybe pull the white thing all the way forward, and then we'll put the carpet down.
I brought her a whole stack.
Yes. So we also have a whole stack of tapestries to hang today.
Why?
So, yeah.
Because I love.
Stargazer, lovely to see you. Thank you for confirming that. Oh gosh. Drishatak?
How did they confirm that?
Yeah, he said he's Muslim. He heard that from his math teacher 30 years ago. Fantastic. Nice. So yeah, thank you. Our pavilion is looking quite lovely, isn't it? Yeah, I could see how you might think this is a yurt. It is a hub and spoke design, which, yurts have that, although a slightly different way. But this is a 15th century French pavilion, French, English, Burgundian. You see this style in Germany and Spain as well, Italy, sort of Western Europe. Yeah, so right now we're just laying out the rugs, deciding how to do that. And this is the first time we've actually set up the interior with these rugs and all these tapestries. So you're getting to participate a little bit in our creative decision-making process.
You know what I didn't bring?
No.
Books.
Oh, I have 2 more carpets. I have 2 more rugs with Dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I've
got a bunch more rugs actually. I've also got rugs in storage. But that's okay because we have my emergency finger loop. Yeah. So you guys, when you watch me do finger loop braiding and I tell you about my uses for the samplers that I do, here's one of the uses for helping hang tapestries when you forgot to bring your tapestry hooks. Because these tapestries all have metal bar. Did we touch the bars on these ones? Yeah, we did. Okay. So the tapestries all have metal bars. And for those of you who are metal workers, Takeda, looking at you, my dear, these are actually hand wrought iron tapestry bars, and you sew them to the top of the tapestry, and then you put that on a hook. So tapestries were not hung like a curtain in the Middle Ages. They were hung on the wall on hooks that protruded out of the wall. And if you go to medieval spaces in Europe, and you like places where people live that haven't been terribly updated, you might look up at the perimeter, the top of the wall where it meets the ceiling, and you'll see these series of iron hooks just sticking out. Those were for tapestries or other wall hangings, because that's how you hung tapestries. They didn't hang like we do from a bar, just one little tapestry in the center of the wall. No, no, no. Tapestries covered the entire room, every single bit of space. That's why they were woven together as a suite, so that they were designed to fit a room exactly. That's why a group of tapestries is called a chambre, a chamber. Ooh, Stargazer. Okay, if you're coming to Pennsic, guys, I want to meet you. Please come and meet me. I'm down in Enchanted Grounds, or I'll be teaching. I'm teaching like, I don't know, 24 hours of dance class up in European dance in the dance pavilion. I'm hosting a ball next Saturday on August 2nd. And then on August 3rd, I'm hosting my Enchanted picnic in the afternoon. So plenty of opportunities to introduce yourself. Let's get together and actually, interact face to face. How cool is that?
He's a real
Yeah.
person.
Okay. So yeah, we've got all these tapestries. And I guess you grabbed Lady in the Unicorn tapestries. Is there a common theme here or not?
I brought a bunch of them. Here.
Oh, but you didn't. Oh, you didn't bring any of the ones that actually go all the way to the ground, though.
I don't know. I grabbed random stuff.
Okay, that's okay. It is what it is. We only have Unicorn in Captivity, which we have Unicorn in Captivity, which is in the Cluny, not the Cluny, the Cloisters of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We've got a tapestry you've seen often behind me in my live streams from when I'm in Daegu, and this is the sound hearing of the Lady and the Unicorn series, which is in the Cluny. Okay. Okay. So, this is a trestle table. Wait, we need to show them something. Okay, so this is a trestle table, and in medieval furnishings were designed to be mobile, because up until the 16th century, the royalty and nobility moved from estate to estate, and they would take their furnishings with them. So they would actually literally empty out one home, one house, and just take those things with them and set it up in the next place where they were going, which meant that furniture had to be flat packed, really. And so here we have a flat pack furniture. These are medieval trestles. You ever heard of a trestle table? This is why. So this is a trestle, and here is exactly how flat pack it is. So here's one end. Oh, that doesn't come out.
It does not.
It's not okay. This one isn't as flat pack as I might like, but that's okay. And then you have this right angled wooden piece. And very, very simply, you just put it together. And it doesn't even require any kind of pin or anything to hold it in place, because the weight of gravity holds it in place. You're not supposed to be tap dancing on these tables, guys. So it should be fine. And then the board, that's why a sideboard is called a sideboard, because it used to be trestles with a board on top. And when you're setting up trestles, you should always alternate your trestles, right? So what I mean is, you have the tripod, you have your kind of tripod situation, right? You've got one single stave and then the split staves. The split staves in this direction, one direction, like that. And then on the other end, you put the split staves on the other side. And so that creates maximum stability for your trestle. And then your board goes on top. And some people, and we have a board where we actually cheated and put some slots of wood. You can see it right there. We put slots of wood into which, well, one of them's broken apparently, but that's okay. We put slots of wood into which the trestles would just kind of nestle. And I think I've actually seen a couple of there's like actually some of these have survived. The trestle tables have actually survived. And so I actually have seen that as an option. But you can also just cheat and get a nice piece, nice big flat board and put it on top of your trestles. And there you have a beautiful table. Now, of course, medieval tables were never bare. It's going to get a nice Peruvian tablecloth that has wonderful white diapering and then the wonderful blue weaving at the end. Yeah. Hola, Martín, ¿qué tal? So just checking through the comments. Oh, Harold, you should come back. Well, Stargazer, I hope you actually come and do actually meet me this year. Yep. Yeah. So, okay. Then we also have benches, and our benches are also trestle benches. So here you can see us. Now, these trestles, not the board, but the trestles and the benches were made by Dupuis Creations. Usually they have a shop here at Pennsic. And so you can see how beautifully carved this is. And yeah, you can see how beautiful with the very typical medieval trefoil, the little Gothic arches here, very nicely crafted. And this is all handmade. The trestles and that bench are handmade by Dupuis Creations. Oh, look at him. Oh, you're looking so cute with your sweat curls. Someone has lost their Korean adaptation. Gracias, Martin.
In the corner.
Que estudié en Granada, la universidad allí. Okay, so we're just jumping our bedding in.
Before it starts to rain.
Do you see a dark cloud, darkening stuff? Oh, right.
Gotta come in. You're the one that said it's going together so well.
Yes, that's true. I did say that, didn't I? That's my mistake. So here's the pile of, just so you get a preview about what's to come, pile of other things we have to set out and decorate. Here is another chair by Dupuis Creations. This is a replica of some extant ones, actually, that have survived. And actually, Ryan, could you pop the center out so they can see how it works? So it doesn't pack down flat, but it packs down flat-ish. Isn't that fantastic?
I wish you had just a little.
Actually, you can take it apart. There are, yeah. So it does come apart more, actually. Okay, well, we didn't take it apart more, but it's got some really nice details. Could you pick it up, Hanson? There's a flower. There's a beautiful flower. Look at this carving here. Yeah, there's some really beautiful details on this particular chair. It's a really nice piece of furniture. And I would not, this is a piece of furniture that would actually just adorn our house normally. But like medieval people, we took everything. Accidental authenticity for the win. In Mexico, most of the wood furniture have nails and glue. Yeah, so this is definitely a lot of mortar. Not mortar. Not mortar. Is it mortar? Mortar and tension, right? Mortar and tension joints and and a lot of pegs and that sort of technique. So they actually definitely are using medieval carpentry techniques for these. Yeah. What does the medallion look like this Pennsic? So this Pennsic medallion is not bad. Let's see. Here is the one side. And here is the obverse. Yeah. Fluctuate nec mergitur. And actually, my Latin isn't good enough to know what that means. So if you know what fluctuate nec mergitur means, do let me know in the comments. Yeah, Pennsic 52. It's got it seems to be rather warlike in its focus, which is fair. They call it the Pennsic War, even though most of us don't do the war part anymore. But yeah, it is a great chair. We love this chair. This is a simpler chair, but also a replica of an extant. This was made by Polish carpenters, and we bought this at the Battle of Nations in Egmont, France in 2013.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We did. Yep. But it's still a very nice chair, and we like both the chairs. They're just different in style, but unlike modern people where we have all this matching furniture, matchy, medieval people didn't believe in that. Yeah, they did not believe in that. So people also talk about it's so hard. It's all okay, guys. Modernly, we attach the upholstery and the padding as a permanent fixture. Medieval people just put cushions on things. And in fact, when medieval people died, they would actually bequeath their cushions. And those are called bankers, by the way. So they would not just have cushions, but they would cloth covers to make their benches more beautiful. So we now use permanent upholstery. Medieval people used removable upholstery. And then they would actually they would bequeath the cloth covers and the cushions, all of the accessory furnishings for benches and chairs. They would bequeath that to someone else. So it was highly considered a highly valuable aspect of your furnishings. So yes, you might buy a chair like this, and yes, it has no padding. Medieval people still liked padding. So they specifically had pillows and cushions and nice cloth covers to beautify everything.
Which I remembered to bring.
Which my condottiere remembered to bring. How brilliant is that? Let's see. Those are pretty good to carry them to the beach or a trip. Yeah, so absolutely. So seriously, everyone, this falls under the heading of modern medieval things, must-haves for the modern medievalist. There it is. I do not believe in having two of everything. This is why we empty our house out when we go to events like Pennsic, because we use these pieces of furniture in our real lives, in our real home. So if you were to come and visit me in my home, you would have a choice of medieval benches and chairs in which to repose your person, right? So yeah, and they're just as portable as a plastic beach chair, but 1,000,000% more sustainable and will last way, way longer than a plastic beach chair will. Yeah. Let's see, what's your favorite piece of furniture you brought with you? Oh, that's a good question. Okay, favorite piece of furniture, I think this year is probably going to be this chair, I think. So thus far, so guys, it's been 5 years since I've seen most of this stuff, but I think
everything. No, don't put it on my stuff.
I'm not trying to. I'm trying to angle it down. So I think this chair is probably my favorite piece, but that could change because we keep finding things that I haven't seen in 5 years. So yeah. But the really neat thing we need to show them is our cooler chest. Yeah, we'll have to show you the cooler chest because we have a wood medieval chest on the outside, and on inside it's a modern cooler. And why should it be a modern cooler, you ask me? Well, because does anyone know what medieval refrigeration or medieval people had? They had an ice box. Absolutely a medieval thing. Do any of you know what provided the insulation in a medieval ice box? Anyone? Bueller? Condottiere, what do you think it is? No. So the insulation in a medieval ice box was lead. They were lined in lead, just like ice boxes up until the early 20th century. They were lined in lead. So actually it was straw was the insulation inside the lead. So there'd be wood and then a layer of straw and then lead encasing the straw against the wood. So yeah, I guess I could pick a different metal, but apparently lead is the really best metal for the preservation and conduction and distribution of the cold. So instead of giving ourselves lead poisoning in the name of an authentic experience, we have put a modern cooler in our cooler box, and we'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Okay, what was the saying on the medallion again? The saying on the medallion again is, and I'm sorry, this is not mirrored, fluctuate nec mergitor. Fluctuate nec mergitor. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's my favorite piece. Float and don't sink. Interesting. Okay, yeah, no to lead. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no to lead. Just say no to lead. It's really easy, right? Just say no to lead. Shouldn't be hard, and yet. Now, yeah, I mean, I kind of do. I will say I've thought about maybe aluminum. I would need to work with someone else on this because I really don't feel like getting into metallurgy myself. But I've thought it might be nice to actually make a hypothetical, a conjectural medieval cooler that would actually use medieval materials to retain the cool of the ice blocks that we do put in there. And believe it or not, medieval people, not your average person, but wealthy people absolutely had access to ice. They would actually mine ice from the mountains, from the glaciers in various places, pack it in barrels and ship it all across Asia, by the way, Eurasia, all across, from Korea to freaking Spain. Wealthy people had access to barrels of ice. So did I just blow your mind? I hope I just blew your mind. There was an ice industry even before there was chemical refrigeration.
Just like pictured in Frozen.
Yeah, just The dance pavilion, oh, thank you. This is my new hat, everyone. Given to me on loan or maybe permanently by one of my apprentices in waiting, Dame Eleanor. And it's accidental because my apartment in Korea ate my hat. I don't know where it is. The cats, I think, absconded with it. So I got here to America and I said, Eleanor, can I please borrow a hat? And she said, I've got just the hat for you. And don't you love how this hat matches my dress? Like, it's a total accident, but there it is. Thank you. I'm in love with this hat though. I really do love it.
Here you go.
Let me see. The dance pavilion at Pennsic is just past the gate. So for those of you who know Pennsic, if you drive into the gate or walk in from the main entrance to the gate where Troll is, and just keep walking, it's giant tent at the end of that block on your left. Giant. It's a massive tent. Let me see. Oh, Martin, are what expensive? Which thing are we talking about? Because unfortunately we've kind of moved on. All of these items are definitely artisanal. These are all handcrafted. If we're talking about the furniture, they were made by carpenters here in the US. They're called Dupuy Creations, DUPUI. And yeah, they're not inexpensive. They're not super expensive either, but they're certainly not cheap. Yeah, so it's definitely, and please keep in mind that all of these pieces we've accrued gradually over the years, like not all at once. Like every year we add a new piece. So
will it be this year?
Yeah, what piece will it be this year?
Comments.
Vote in the comments. What beautiful wooden thing should we add to our kit? Anyway, so remember that my path, my journey to here has been a 30-year journey. And every year I've added something else. I've extracted a modern thing and replaced it with a medieval thing, piece by piece by piece, so that I can get to this point. So this isn't something that you have to drop $10,000 on at the very beginning. You can do it gradually at your own pace in a way that pleases you best. Right? So if this is like, wow, I would really like this, don't think of it as something you attain in a year. Think of it as something you attain, in my case,
How long ago did you
yeah,
do this?
30 years. So this, my first husband of happy memory, Sir Gerhardt, made that. And he made that in 2005. So this is a swing back chest, swing back chest, chest up. Right? So it actually, you can actually change the side of the bench on which you sit. So I can sit on this side and sit on the side. And it's a chest set. So what we call, I think the word settee actually comes from settle. It's related, not necessarily comes from, but is related to. This is actually a chest set. So inside, we can store things. So it's a 2-for-1 deal. So we can store all kinds of neat things. Yeah, you can store all kinds of neat things, and then it can also be a thing on which you sit. Medieval people were all about creative efficiency. So you always want to make sure that things serve as many purposes as feasible. Yep. Yeah. Tinned steel will also work, not as dense as lead for cold retention, but meh, no lead though. Yeah, that's so true. Very important. It's so cute together, and the sleeves are beautiful. Well, thank you. Let me see. Are you doing a meet and greet at Pennsic? I'll be there for a week. Yeah, so I am going to do a, sorry, this thing is not mirrored. It's making me crazy. I am definitely going to be doing a meet and greet. I have to look at my schedule and see when it would be most viable. So stay tuned. I will make an announcement on when I'm doing a meet and greet. I'm going to do a meet and greet, one during Peace Week, the first week, and I'm going to do a meet and greet the second week. Absolutely. And no, and the meet and greet will be here in camp. So if you come to my meet and greet, you can come and touch all of the things and sit in them and experience them firsthand, 100%. Yes, the condottiero is definitely on board for being touched and used. Do I have a medieval wooden saw used to saw wood? Oh, no, I do not. I don't have any medieval carpentry tools, do we?
One, but it's not medieval.
Yeah, I don't
I think the one I have is 19th century.
Yeah, I think we have a saw, 19th century saw. We have a 19th century saw, but I don't think I have any medieval woodworking tools. Oh, maybe ask her to write that. Okay, so next thing we're doing, and we should show it putting together. So this, oh, it's right. Okay. So this is a chandelier that actually flat packs. So it starts off like this, and it turns into this. And this is a copy of chandeliers that you actually see, and I don't remember which of the copies of Renee's book of the tournament, the Livre du Tournoi du Roi René. Right, we didn't bring it, but this is actually in. It is in one of the manuscript versions of Renee's book of the tournament. You can actually see it. I think it's in the scene in the Helmschau scene. The scene where they're judging the helmets, and one of the judges has purposely knocked a shitty helmet to the ground. But you actually see them hanging up above. And the great thing about this is it packs down completely flat and it takes tea lights. Now, of course, in the original one, there are candles that are on candles, but it's not in a pavilion. So there can be candles sticking up. But because this hangs from the spokes here, we don't want candles that are close to our wooden spokes. So tea lights for the win. Yeah. And yes, you're saying, well, you could use LED. Yes, but LED lights suck for actually lighting things. They like you need 100 LEDs to create the amount of light for one candle. And that's not an exaggeration. LED candles, I mean. So yeah. And the instructions for how to make this are also on graydragon.org, which is the same website that has instructions for how to make your own pavilion just like this. Right. So yeah. Let me see more questions. I'll go this November to Iowa. Can I get some like that year? Martin, in November, I don't think so. I don't think there are any events where you can get this kind of furniture in November in Iowa, unfortunately. I think Dupuis, they go to an event called Golf Wars, which is in March, and they do Pennsic. I'll find out. They'll be up here. I'll go find out where else they're going to be. In case you would like to order specifically from them. And they have a website, Dupuis Creations, Dupuis, Dupuy. Okay. Next, look at this beautiful broomstick, this beautiful broomstick, yeah. So this is a handmade broom. This is a handmade broom. Isn't that beautiful? And yeah, so we even have a beautiful replica medieval broom for keeping our pavilion clean, because you do track things in, and these are the practical aspects of medieval pavilion living that aren't really addressed anywhere that I've ever found, that you're going to have to sweep your pavilion out every day if you want it to stay clean. Yeah. Do you know when classes will be? Yes. I published, guys, everyone, I published a complete post with all of my classes on it everywhere. I published it on the community, my post community posts on my YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. So if you go back and look through my posts, you can see I shared my complete post of all my classes and balls and activities. But there is also, you can look at the Pennsic University has a website, and you can go Pennsic, if you look up Pennsic University class schedule, they have a website and you can go see all the hundreds of amazing classes that are on offer there.
Never used her.
Ye old IKEA chandelier. Yeah, definitely better than an IKEA chandelier. Yeah. Yes. Oh, hangers. Okay. So clothing storage. The reality is that generally medieval people did not hang up their clothes for storage. We actually see hangers just like this in cameras not mirrored, so I need to remember that. We actually see hangers just like this in depictions of furriers, or sometimes tailors, but mostly furriers who are adding fur to a garment. And so they would hang the garment on a hanger like this and then add fur to it. But they would not hang their garments for storage. It seems that garments were always stored in chests, but they had really long chests. And so you would fold up your garment so that it would be nice and long. And so your folds would more or less only mostly be on the length side and not, so you wouldn't have folds like this. You'd have folds like this going down the garment. So yeah, so I know everyone wants to hang up their garments because that's what we do modernly, but the reality is that medieval people did not hang their clothing up for storage. They stored them in chests. Yeah.
There's a chest for you.
During Peace Week, I will be teaching classes also. I will be teaching, yeah, classes start on Tuesday. I think my first classes are on Tuesday. Otherwise, it'll probably take us 2 days to get fully set up here. And we'll also be, I'm going to be doing some experiments, guys. I am going to be doing the fermented urine experiment, and I'm going to be doing the experiment on making my own starch according to a 15th century starch recipe.
So come on down.
Yeah.
In a bucket.
Yeah. So, and remember, for the optimal, for optimal urine, for optimal ammonia, you want strong urine, which means urine that has been excreted by someone who had ale the night before. And basically, the process for making ammonia, fermented urine, is someone pees in a vessel, ideally one that is kind of closed mouthed, narrow, and then you just let it sit for a couple of days and it ferments, and there is your ammonia. And so I plan on doing some experimentation in stain removal and bleaching using fermented urine. So we're going to see how that goes. And I'm planning on doing medieval starch making according to this recipe I found in Sloan. It's called the Sloan manuscript, and I forget what the name of the actual title in the manuscript is. But basically it says you take wheat bran, you take clean rainwater, but we're not going to use rainwater because rainwater isn't clean anymore. We're going to use distilled water. You mix them together. There's a certain quantity. You cook them, you bring it to a boil, and then you let it cool and you let it sit for 3 days or until it becomes acidic, or until it, let me sit it, what does it say? Until it becomes acidic, or there's another word, sour, acidic or sour. And then you strain out the bran, and what's left is your starch water. And then it says to dip it gives a series of different kinds of cloth. They're all like linen based, different kinds of weaves of linen in the starch water. And then you let it dry, and then you smooth it with a sleeky stone. With a sleeky stone. So I'm excited to give that all a try. Yeah, very excited. So there's be plenty. We will be doing medieval story time. I have some super fun readings for you all. Oh my God. I was reading through one of my new books that I'm going to be recommending in my book corner, a medieval miscellany, while we were waiting those 3 hours in line to check in. And I bookmarked a whole bunch of super fun little mini passages this time to open a window into the medieval world, to show you yet more corners of this fascinating era. I've got some really good stuff. And let me just preview some of the titles. One of them is The Miracle of the Testicles. One of them is just called Heat. Another one, what was one of the other funny ones? Another one is an 11th century wedding in which the woman says, yeah, I can take you or leave you. You have to do what I want because I can find another guy easy peasy. So yeah, I've got some really fun stuff lined up for you. We will be doing medieval story time here. We will be doing live stream medieval sewing parties together because I've got plenty of sewing to do. I will be live streaming my dance classes. So yeah, we've got so much good stuff planned for you guys and for us, hopefully. Okay, so right now, let me just do a sweep around, show you where you are. So this is one of our beautiful, this is also a Dupuis Creations. No, they are not a channel sponsor at all. We've just bought items from them, and I like to support artisans who hand make things. So this is a really beautiful replica medieval chest, and it is very by medieval standards. Yes, it is plain. Medieval chests tended to be pretty ornate, but we're not super wealthy. So, but these are hand forged. Katie might be interested in these. These are hand forged hinges, right? And see, it's just a really beautiful piece. And once it can also serve as a bench if you need. Unfortunately, this sat in storage that was supposed to be climate controlled, but who knows how true that is. So it is a little swollen in places or not swollen in places where it shouldn't be. But yeah, once you put the hinge on, it's just fine. And then you can indeed sit upon it once it is closed. Put down some bankers, as they were called, the cloth and cushions that went on benches, and it's a comfy extra place to sit. Just the right height. Let's see, what else do we have now over here?
We need to make the rope bed.
Yeah, we need to put together the rope bed. Okay, so unfortunately, that's in storage. That's in storage.
So
yeah,
you may have to come back for another.
we might. This is what I meant by it's probably going to take us a couple of days. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah. So my journey to get here took me from I went from Daegu to Seoul, Seoul to Taipei, Taipei to Chicago, Chicago to Baltimore, Baltimore to Milford, Delaware, where I collected my things and visited family for a whole 24 hours. And then we headed off from Milford, Delaware to Breezewood last night. And somewhere around the beltway of DC, we realized that we had forgotten the key to our storage unit. Sigh. So this morning I called the storage unit and I said, how much will you charge us to cut the block off of our unit? And they said, well, it's only $50. Like, okay, great. But it probably won't happen today. It takes probably all, it won't probably, they probably won't even get to the request until tomorrow. So yeah.
We'll be sleeping.
Yeah, we're probably going to be sleeping. I usually end up sleeping on the ground the first night anyway. But what we do have, oh shoot, what time is it? Oh, 2. Darn it, I meant to go get a bale of straw before they close, but it's probably too late. Well, try. Because of course I have a straw mattress. I have a big linen ticking, and into that goes the straw, and then on top of that goes a feather mattress, and then on top of that goes another feather mattress, and then on top of that goes sheets and whatnot. So yeah, so we unfortunately will not be able to set up our rope bed today because we literally don't have it. So there will definitely be a second live stream tomorrow for setting up the rope bed and the canopy and all of the bedding, because we don't have any of that to set up today, basically. Yeah. So are there any, let's give you, and if you hear the crashing, I'm sorry, that's my condottiero throwing weapons around like they're candy. Okay, let's give you a back up to the outside of the pavilion so you can see what it looks like. Okay, there she is. Yeah, she's nice and spacious. And, well, the banner is not flowing, but at least it's attached. Why don't you think so? Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We can hope the banner flows. Yeah. I have not gotten to try medieval falconry yet. It is on my list of things to do for certain. Yeah. And yeah, surprised at how quick the pavilion went up. Yeah, it's this is why I love the hub and spoke design. It goes together so quickly and with so little fuss. I mean, look at we probably will do a little bit of adjusting because we're on a slope.
Would have gone quicker if she'd done more.
It's actually true. If I hadn't been, he's right. He's not wrong. If I had been, instead of explaining what was happening and talking to you, if I'd been helping, it would have gone faster. He's not wrong. No, he's right. When he's right, he's right. Oh, well, he told me to go and talk to you all. He told me to talk. Yeah, we really love our pavilion. It's pretty fantastic. And right now it looks like a hoarder's nightmare, I guess, on the inside as things are just getting dragged in. But we're preventing. So what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, this is called rain prevention, because by putting everything inside the pavilion, it means it's not going to rain. Of course, it's going to make it harder to set up the pavilion because there'll be things in our way, but it's rain insurance. It's rain insurance, you know. So let's see. Anything else I wanted to show you all?
The cooking pots are in the box.
Cooking pots are in the box. Oh,
Right.
the great value drinking water. Oh wait, which box? The cardboard box. Oh, the open box. Oh, was this back in our house? Huh, that's funny. Okay. So, speaking of IKEA, everyone, we do still have some handy IKEA items. This wooden box, this wooden open top chest, is an IKEA chest. I don't know if they still have them or not. It is not plywood; it's solid wood, and it was super cheap. It was like $35, and it's great for extra medieval storage. And these slide right under the bed. They're fantastic. So you don't have to worry about it having a lid. You just put things in it that don't need a lid. And, you know, $35, you can't beat it, right? It already looks so nice on the inside. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate that. Okay, so what do we have here on the inside? Ah, okay. So here's one of our Prussian tablecloths. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so we're on a slope, which is why here we go. Okay, here is one of our Perugian, as they would say, Perugiano in Florentine dialect of Italian. In Florence, you elide all of those sounds, not Perugian, but Perugian. Makes this Italians from Rome crazy. Anyway, yeah, so this is a Peruvian tablecloth, and they were actually called that in 14th and 15th century sources. They were recognized as being woven in Perugia. And English sources, I mean. So these are recognized as being from Perugia. And it's got this wonderful griffin motif woven into it. Historic enterprises used to sell these. They don't anymore, sadly. This is linen, a linen cotton blend. The cotton part is actually the blue part. The linen part is the white part, which reflects the practice of the extant ones. We have extant one of these in the V&A. You can actually go see extant Peruvian tablecloths and towels. And someone was asking about diapering. And so I thought I'd address that here. To diaper, the word to diaper comes from, I'm actually was working on a short about this too, but I'll put the short out and I'll tell you guys about diapering. So diaper is actually not originally a nappy, as they say in British English. Diaper is a fabric that has a repeated geometric pattern in it. And originally, diaper was an expensive silk, diapre in Old French. It was an expensive silk that was imported from Constantinople, from the Eastern Roman Empire. And you can actually see, and I don't know, hopefully you can see, maybe you can see, the lozenge pattern that is woven into this is diapering. So this is diapered fabric. And what makes it diapering particular is that it's white on white. It's the same color. So it's not a brocade because it's not different colors. It's white on white. And that is called diapering. And so the reason that baby diapers in the US are called, well, they should be called baby diapers, first off. That is actually what they're called. But we just shorten it to diapers because language is lazy. The reason that they're called diapers is because eventually by the end of the 16th century, it seems that diapered linen had started to be used for nappies, for absorbing the effluents and excretions of children, right? And so that's why it's called diapering modernly. But historically, diapering actually was the fabric with a geometric pattern on repeat woven into it. Then the term diapering also came to refer, even in the Middle Ages and Middle English, not just to fabric, but also to architectural features. For instance, when the entire wall is diapered, that means it is covered, painted in a geometric pattern. So like this one, actually, like the one you see around the ridge, right? That is a kind of diapering, actually. So reproduction medieval tablecloth with diapering and the beautiful blue ends on it. And so unfortunately, my condottiere has completely covered the table, so you can't see me cover the table in the tablecloth. But we also know from the 15th century books of etiquette, from which I've been reading actually during medieval storytime with the Contessa, we also know that this tablecloth would go on the table, and then another white tablecloth, a tablecloth cover, would go on top of this because they recognized that diners are slobs. And so the white linen thing that went on top of this would then be cleared away, and the nice, pretty, expensive imported tablecloth would get left behind, while the white tablecloth cover would get laundered in the abusive manner in which whites were laundered in the Middle Ages. So boiling and fermented urine and hanging and meadowing and all of that. So this will be going on the table, or what is literally a board on top of trestles. And then we also have, I have my medieval cooking pots finally. Okay, so here, look at this cutie. Isn't this so adorable? So I use these in my modern kitchen as well, not necessarily for cooking so much, although you could use it in an oven for certain, but I use these to store things like grains, like or ingredients or spices or tea. Then I just have a lid of some kind that I put on top, right? So you can get your medieval pots. Then if you're not using them as pots, you can use them for storage in your kitchen. And then you have one thing that is used for both your medieval and your modern life. But also, this is a ceramic pot. It's partially glazed, so it's glazed on the outside. It is not glazed on the inside. Take note of that, because if you leave things to ferment or mold in this, that will grow into the porous clay. So you have to be careful about that. Do not let things sit. Do not let foodstuff sit in this, because once you get mold into the porous clay, it's real tricky to get it out. It's possible, I've done it, but it's a struggle, right? Yes.
So an interesting thing about that is when they were originally brewing beer, they had clay pots that were better for brewing beer. And what they didn't realize was that the yeast that was in the beer that they liked had inhabited the cracks of the pot like that.
I'd forgotten that. Yeah,
I was just watching that extra history
that's pretty
today.
cool. Yeah. So sometimes that could work to your favor, depending on what kind of bacteria or other microbiota take up residence, but it might not work to your favor. As in the case of the pitcher, the beautiful terracotta pitcher that I had that, yeah, well, anyway. So this is a tripod pot, which means it's meant to go into the coals. It can go in fire. It does fine with fire, but really these are meant for coal cooking mostly. And as we learned in our, from our book of nurture, or from our medieval home companion, the better thing you don't want the fire licking the pot directly because that's going to cause things to stick and burn. You want coals. And if things start to stick, you need to pull it away from the fire and then pour it in another pot. So we will be using these pots for our experiment with fermenting. And you're probably thinking, did you say you're just going to ferment something in this? Yes, we're going to use these pots to ferment our bran probably. And yes, that may lead to the complication of microbiota inhabiting the pot, but yeah, whatever. Remember that these things were disposable. This was the plastic of the Middle Ages, pottery. Well, actually, corn was the plastic of the Middle Ages, but pottery was a disposable item. It was a consumable. They understood that it would only last so long, it would break, and you would get new. So, yeah. Okay, so hold on a minute. Great. Okay, fantastic. And then, yeah, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. And then this pot, you can see, has been used heavily. It is covered in soot. And this soot is actually what's known as lamp black. You can actually scrape, if this gets thick enough, this actually gets scraped off and you can see it coming off on my fingers. This is used to make black ink. This is used to make black pigment. This is a consumable material in the medieval world, right? So, and this is what a pot looks like when you've used it a lot. You can see there's much love here in this pot. And now there's much black on my hands, and now I have to remember not to touch my not black press. This is a pristine pot that has never been used, so it should be excited to get some use at this Pennsic, like that. This is the terracotta pitcher I mentioned that sadly has been inhabited by microbiota, and actually you can see the microbiota growing out through the bottom. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, well, are there any questions about anything you've seen as far? Do you want to see any particular piece of the pavilion? And more closely? Unfortunately, as I said, because of the ridiculous mistake of leaving our key at home, we do not have our bed to set up or our canopy to hang. Last little thing I'll show you because it was in the box. These are, does anyone know what these are? Got a handle. It's got 3 tines on it. Does anyone recognize this item? So this is called a flesh hook. If you ever see a flesh hook mentioned in medieval sources, this is it. And this is used for cooking. It is literally because they used to stew meat in a pot like these, but even bigger pots. And so you would actually use these hooks are perfectly designed to actually grab the chunk of meat, and you grab the chunk of meat and you lift it out using this flesh hook. So that's what a flesh hook is. It sounds like a horrible torture device, but it's not. It's actually a cooking implement. Oh, Christy, lovely, welcome. The diaper inventory is great. I love to see the fabric weave this week sometime. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, as always, I am, me. I love to meet you all, and Christy and I are friends. So Christy, definitely come up and check out the pavilion. Yeah, the mold is sad. The mold is very sad. Did you want to see the mold again? Is that what you wanted, Jimmy? You want to see the? So I have boiled this. I have soaked it in vinegar. I've soaked it in salt water. And I can never. That might actually be salt. That might actually be salt. Yes, everyone, you just watched me run my finger over what might be mold and lick it. Welcome to my world. That actually might be salt from the last time I boiled it in salt to try to get rid of it. So maybe it worked.
I'll do something.
Maybe it finally worked. No, the white. I thought it might be mold, but then I ran my finger over it and licked it and it's salt.
Well, I did wash it again before I brought it.
Yeah,
So
that might actually be salt from the time, because I soaked it in salt water and then I boiled it, and so that might have finally done it.
yeah, don't pick up that.
Oh, if I know a potter, they can refire it. I'm sorry, I must have missed the rest of the comment, Jimmy. I'm sorry. Yeah, so actually, funny you should say that. There are potters at Pennsic. They have a kiln here, and so I can actually get it refired. You're right. I can go take it and see if they can just burn the shit out of it. That kills mold 100%. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that suggestion, Jimmy. Yeah, I bet it does. 1,000 degrees centigrade, that'll do it.
If it doesn't,
if it doesn't, we're doomed. That's a good point, Jimmy. I'll see. There are potters here. And one of the things I do plan to do this week, everyone, these next 2 weeks, I'm going to talk to various artisans that I know here who actually have their workshop set up. And I'm going to see if any of them would be willing to live stream them doing their craft and explaining about their crafts, so you can see these other medieval handcrafts that I don't do, but that I think are fascinating, and that would really be, it would be great if you all could learn about them firsthand. So in the next couple of days, I'm going to be talking to various people, and I'll let you know and get some live streams set up with blacksmiths and the potters and the carpenters that are here. And there's tablet weavers and there's spinners and there's all kinds of fun craftsmen who have shops here, and will be doing their work. And there's an amazing calligrapher and illuminator here. So, I mean, there's many, but there's one in particular I know who has an actual workshop that's set up that's, good for this sort of thing. So I'm going to try to get some really fun things set up for us.
And if you manage to come, you have prizes you can win.
Jimmy, I really appreciate you telling me about the refiring, because honestly, I just thought refiring it would cause it to break, but why would it, right? So yeah, right. So I'll definitely bring it to them, because I love this jar so much. I really do. It's huge, which I love. Like, I love a jar, and it's only partially glazed, so evaporative cooling, which is fantastic at a summer event. Yeah. Yeah. Go down to Blackstar. But that's okay, because actually, unless there are any specific questions, everyone, I think I'm going to call it good on the live stream for now. And tomorrow I will schedule another live stream, although unfortunately, I don't know when we're going to get the bolt cut off of our unit. So you're just going to have to stay tuned for random live stream. We'll set up the bed. We'll show you how to set up a medieval rope bed. We'll show you how to hang a medieval silk bed hanging, and any of the other little bits of setup that we have left to do. You can join us for that very, very fun and exciting process. Yeah. So any other questions or comments before we part ways for the nonce? Certainly not the last time you will be seeing me in less than 24 hours, unless something goes really hideously awry. Otherwise, I'd like to thank all my patrons and my channel members for supporting my work in a very financial way. I would like to thank Armor and Castings for being a sponsor of my channel. Some of you have seen some of their work, like this lovely pendant, which adorns my Condottieros Capitanesca, Barreta alla Capitanesca. I would like to thank all of you who watch and comment and hit the thumbs up and chat with me and have joined me on this journey in all the different ways that you all support me. You have my deepest gratitude. I really appreciate you all so much. Yeah. Otherwise, if there are no other, I'm going to give it another 20 or 30 seconds, because there's a delay in the chats, because why wouldn't there be a delay in the chats? But otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow, and I might even be in medieval clothing tomorrow. We'll see. Right now, you get me in my setup kit. This is my medieval setup kit. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Then I thank you all. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Wonderfully creative and filled with lots of learning adventure. Until the next time, everyone, this is the Contessa signing off.